I really want to thank everybody for coming here. The one thing about running is how all the friends and support have come out with it. One thing everybody told me, or my true friends told me when I came out, Greg, you're nuts with it. I really tend to agree with it on there, with it, but people that have known me for a time are nutty. 4 years ago, the year I turned 60, I decided to swim across Corpus Christi Bay. They told me I was nuts there, and that kind of proves it with it. Fred, my good friend for 45, 50 years, thank you for that help on there. But what it is rising to challenges. And we've got a lot of challenges ahead of us. But a little bit of background, Gabby mentioned it. I've worked on transportation, working with TxDOT, working with the RTA, working with the MPO. I've worked on windstorm. Charlie and I spent 4 years, and how many miles, Charlie? 26,000 miles working the 14 counties and the 1.8 million. 2 legislative sessions on there. Charlie was the chairman of that, so I don't want to steal his thunder, but we were sitting side by side. Beaches. I worked on the beaches, Corpus Christi and Nueces County. A few years ago, the state mandated that we need to have an erosion response plan. That's a fancy word for saying your development, your beach development on there, what you can and cannot do. And all the communities in the state, the beach communities, were required to do it. We had 2 that were being done, one by Nueces County and the other was by the city of Corpus Christi. And they were independent of each other. So some poor property owner, they would have to comply with Nueces counties and they would have to comply with the city of Corpus Christi. Gabby was involved with that, James Gaborchik was involved with that, with others. But gosh, we got enough bureaucracy as is. Let's just have one. So I led that team. I was the chairman of the Nueces County Corpus Christi Joint Erosion Response Plan. So the poor property owners, they just went to one spot and did it. We brought in the entire community to do it. This is the only erosion response plan on the coast that recognizes the importance of the beaches. All the others talk about dunes, but we know the dunes protect us, but what protects the dunes are the beaches. So we broke new ground in saying our beaches are vital to it. They're vital to the protection of the dunes, and they're also vital to our quality of life. I worked on water. That we've got great opportunity in this area, and one of the vital things for water is a dependable, drought-proof water supply. When an industry wants to come in and make a $2 billion investment, they don't want water 99% of the time. They want water 100% of the time. So with Chairman Hunter, we worked together on desal. A couple of years ago, that desal wasn't much of any place. Now it's taken a look at, checking the viability. They're still working it through its paces on there, but they know what the cost is. And this is something that, whether it's groundwater or desal, having another alternate to surface water. Think about our water supply. It all comes from surface water. The drought just doesn't start in one watershed. A drought goes to every place. I worked electrical transmission. AEP was proposing to put transmission lines through Flower Bluffs. Some of those routes were not very good. Spent some time in Austin working, making sure that we had those transmission lines located where they are the least obtrusive. Tourism. Miss Ann Vaughn, we know how vital tourism is to this area. What's the one thing that makes us unique in this country? Corpus Christi is the gateway to 90 miles of ocean beach. There is no other community in this country that can say that. And so the importance of tourism is just vital to us now and in our future. I worked on the Island Development Plan with William Golston. William Golston is the chair. We saw CC 2035 on there. There were a lot of things that we didn't happen to agree with. on it, but the island has its own area development plan. This is one that's organic. It's being created by the people and the stakeholders of this community. We didn't have to go to Boston. We didn't have to go to LA to get it. The cost to the taxpayers is a little bit of staff time. So those are some of the things that I've worked on in the last few years. I'm also spent a lot of time, I love history. The history of the island, the history of Flower Bluff, and the history of Corpus Christi. That's kind of my pastimes, is giving talks on it. A lot of you have been with it. I've got several awards for it, but looking at the past is always a guide to the future. Our water issue right now, it's not the first time that we've had a water issue. We had a dam that they didn't put the piling, they should have gone 2 feet further. They wanted to save a little bit of money. The dam washed out. Corpus Christi was out water for 6 months with it. There's a La Fruta Dam. We're in a time right now. Corpus Christi was one of the top 10 growth areas in this nation for a decade. That was after oil and gas was discovered. We had a great port to ship it out. The industry came in. Now we're in a similar situation if we can do the right things to bring it forward. Last year I sponsored an event. This is something that most people don't know about, but 15 miles from where we stand was the place the first United States flag was put on Texas soil with it, bringing that back to the community. Now getting to Corpus, everybody in here, we're just coming off our boil water notice. And for us, it's been an inconvenience, most of us in the room. We can't get our coffee, we can't get our tea. But there's a lot of people in this community that it's much worse than that. They may be in a hospital, they may be in a nursing home, they may not have the ability to it. Even in our jails, it costs we taxpayers just a ton of money. I forgot what it was, $4,000. Those people drank more water than they ever drank in their lives, I think. But we've had incurable harm with this. We know the cost of places like Schlitterbahn. We know the cost to our restaurants and things. But the intangible, I had a friend from Portland, Oregon. Greg, what's going on with your water down there? Corpus Christi, Flint, Michigan. Are we attracting people with that? This water issue was preventable. That in 2007, we had a similar kind of issue. There were recommendations that were made that should be done to our system on there. The report went on a shelf. Last Monday at City Council, the engineers were sitting there, and we taxpayers, they came from New York and they came from California. We're paying the dime for them to come in. They were saying, we can have a report ready for you next week. I can imagine they're blowing that 2007 report off, blowing the dust off of it, and here's what you guys need to do. Now, in saying that though, our system at all times met the federal drinking water standards. At no time was our citizenry in peril. Colleen did a terrific job of bringing that up on there. There are 4 cities. Austin, who, Colleen?
San Antonio, Austin, Fort Worth, and Houston.
All had their drinking water with lower readings than what I did. And one thing you're working with the TCEQ. When you're working with a state agency or the IRS or somebody like that, you got to remember you're the nail and they're the hammer. They took that hammer to us and drove that nail into the ground. And we, the citizens, are all paying the price for it. And I think it's something that we really need to concentrate on with it. Another thing with the city, we do a very poor job of spending our tax dollars. And the things that I've worked on, we had the Packard Channel restrooms, and they were going to be located halfway between the boat launch and halfway to the beach, right where nobody would use them. Now the cost on it was $1.8 million. There were 3 men's and 3 women's stalls. That works out to $300,000 a stall. ISAC, which I was on at that time, they did great work, and they finally, after a year, said, really guys, this isn't a good use of our money. to buy one toilet for what you could buy 2 houses for. But it's how things. Billish Park, Maybeth. Maybeth is working on Billish Park. We've got bond money, thank you Colleen, to upgrade Billish Park. But how, are we $500,000 into it right now? We are $500,000 into improving that park. You go out there right now, what can you see? Sticker bars. Because all that $500,000 has disappeared someplace else. It's $500,000 you taxpayers get to pay for, but you'll never see the results on it. Collier Pool. I'm a swimmer. Same thing. I've watched so many reiterations happen at Collier Pool that the money goes down, the mighty sinkhole, our pool is closed down. There's no place for a swimmer in Corpus Christi right now, Fred, he'll verify that, to swim outdoors laps. You can go to Portland, population 9,000, and swim there. You can be like me, go to Port Aransas, population 3,000, swim in a great outdoor pool. We got $3 million in bond money for Collier, but we got nothing to show for it. HEB Tennis Center. Gabby is working on that. What, $500,000 down the drain for nothing?
Yeah, $500,000 on a $3 million bond in architecture and engineering on tennis courts that are already existing and already engineered and architecture.
We spend our money poorly. We're a broke city, but we need to do a better job on there. I want to read the mission statement, the vision of this city. You go down to City Hall, you can see it on the north entrance there. It's in a nice frame plaque done up with nice graphics and everything. I think they're just using it to cover up a hole in the wall. Okay, vision. The City of Corpus Christi organization will become the benchmark for all other Texas cities. Mission statement. The mission of the City of Corpus Christi, Texas is to deliver municipal services which meets the vital health, safety, and general welfare needs of the residents, which sustain and improve the quality of life. As we work to achieve this mission, we will employ fiscal discipline, continuous improvement, first-rate customer service, and straightforward communications. In this work, we will tolerate no mediocrity. Please, do you all agree that that's true? Take it down. If you're going to talk the talk, you need to walk the walk or just get rid of it. One thing I would like to see, the mission statement is simple. I didn't come up with this. I'm not going to say who did. He speaks better than I. It's one simple thing. Just tell the truth. Leadership. The most important decision. The city council, it hires the city manager, it approves the budget, and it sets policy. And it's up to that city manager to implement, spend the money wisely, and those. We need a leader that can motivate those people, and we have some good, hardworking people down in City Hall. They're beat down, that can bring them up. We need one that can recognize great people, promote them from the inside, bring them in from the outside. But most importantly, we need a leader that can communicate with our citizenry. We've got a water notice, they're out there, out front. Relate with their people. We had one not very long ago, Floyd Simpson. A great man, a great leader. It's somebody like Floyd Simpson that we need for our next city manager. And this decision, whether it's made by the current council or their next council, is probably the most important decision that we can make, because they will put the processes together to help take us forward. In ending this, I'm saying a lot of negative things with it, but with this city, we've got a bunch of great stuff to it. We've got a strong Corpus Christi. We've got the port of Corpus Christi. There's 5th largest in the nation. I mean, a progressive port. They've got $100 million in the bank, Charlie? Yeah. You got Corpus Christi here, and you got the port of Corpus Christi sitting over there. Locally here, we've got Flower Bluff ISD, an excellent school system. On the island, we have Seashore. So we have two bookends of some great education there. We've got the things that so many people are here for, the Laguna Madre, Corpus Bay. We've got wildlife galore, King Ranch wherever we go. And we've got those world-class energy reserves that put Corpus Christi on the map when we grew from 20,000 people in 1920 to over 100,000 people in 1940, even before the base came here. On that, this is a report. You know, we're saying we're beating ourselves senseless sometimes on there. This was just produced by the A&MCC. This is the April report. The metro area added another 800 non-farm jobs in April. Over the year, local employment was up 5,400 positions, or 2.8%, a strongest year to year. So we always need to keep that in mind. But we've got to do the things to keep those people here and not go. So in closing, I've been in political circles now for a while and watching how it goes. But I remember Charles Butt in speaking to managers, and you know, HEB is an excellent corporation. And he was telling the assembled managers there, under-promise and over-deliver. Now, when you're in the political realm that I'm about to enter, it's overpromise and don't deliver. So I'm just going to say three things. I'm going to work hard, I'm going to know the facts, and I'm going to try to make the best decisions to move this town forward. Now, Steve Ray, my guy, said I'm always supposed to say what, Steve? Vote for me or... I appreciate your vote. Thank you.